Amalia Eon Karis.
This is Satya, and you're listening to
Love, Sex, and the Hidden Agenda. Our podcast was created with the sole intention to release toxic shame, illuminate our shadow nature, and expose the mysterious entities that feed off our most precious life force, our sexual energy. To learn more about our life-enhancing courses and transformational retreats, visit knowtheself.com. Let's dive in.
I'm so honored to be back today with Aeon and the beautiful Valentine Falcon. So we're going to do a continuation today of what was shared on our last episode. We just barely struck the surface there. So Valentine, I'm so happy to have you back and can't wait to hold you and witness you more and be with you together and with Aeon and in your process, and what you have to share is so valuable. And where would you like to start this time? Where in the flow are you in this moment?
So there was the initial childhood that was impacted. I did go to a therapist. I talked about the thoughts, the sexualized thoughts. The woman told me they were thoughts. I felt good with that as a young child. And then cut to moving to be with Billy, my now husband, and realizing that I was having actually what people would call alcoholism. I realized that I was having an alcohol or problem with alcohol with my relationship with alcohol. For whatever reason, I was extremely stubborn and did not want to just go to AA and call myself an alcoholic. I was familiar with the healer's journey and the wounded healer, and something in me burned and desired to heal myself and to not just be this one thing. I knew there was a root, and I knew that there was a reason, because also I could have filled in the blank over the course of my life with alcohol, sex, relation. It was like I was addicted all through my life and escaped all through my life. And then this was just sort of the most extreme version of it. So I knew I had a problem, spent almost 8 years throwing the kitchen sink at it, could not get to the root. In 2020, I felt called to do my own personal activism, which was to go sober. And so I did. And then also Spirit was guiding me to work with Aeon and her school. And so simultaneously, I went sober, had to be sober for the school, and never got to the root, just kind of let it go and sort of being led in this other direction. I joined the school. I think it was literally a week in. I was doing the activations, having a great day, feeling great, listening to your podcast where you're interviewing Issa, and had a complete melt because my heart started pounding. The entire world was shaking. It's really hard to talk about it. And what I felt that I felt that the root of my problem was surfacing, and I wasn't getting an image. All I was having was this terror that maybe indeed, because I had drank and because I had done hypnosis and nothing showed up, that maybe indeed it wasn't maybe I had harmed somebody, and the memory was surfacing now because that I had gone sober. And so I knew no matter what the circumstance, I was going to face it. And I mean, I just want to say to people, because this is how extreme that was for me. I literally was so terrified that a memory of me having harmed somebody I had forgotten possibly was surfacing, that maybe I would have to go to jail. I would have to go to prison. I mean, I was so terrified of what might happen. But I also was committed that no matter what, I was going to be honest, and because I'm committed to truth. That's part of my path. And so I was committed to whatever the circumstances were. I immediately reached out to all the healers. I reached out to Aeon, I reached out to Isa, I reached out to Chicago. I booked sessions with everybody. I was terrified to tell you, Aeon, what I was afraid might be the truth. And then you actually saying, oh no, that's natural. People that have been abused have that fear that they might be an abuser, or, you know, that's natural, that happens. It's not natural that happens. It's natural for people who have been abused to have that fear. I actually never knew that. I mean, I just turned 46 a few days ago, and that was what, I was 44 when I joined your school. I never knew that. So in my mind, I had this terror that was always lingering in my, that maybe there was something wrong with me, some dark corner I couldn't access with all the things. And there was always a fear, you know, and so to hear you say that, actually, and then Isa said that, and actually all the people said it. Chicago said it, Isa said that, oh no, that's natural. You know, when you've been abused, you have a fear of that within yourself. So what that did was, when I told you, and I got the healing actually with you, Aeon, was, it wasn't something I had done. It was something that had been done to me when I was a baby. So I couldn't access, I had no containership to allow that trauma that had happened to me, which actually sexualized me from that point on, took my innocence from my entire life. There was a soul retrieval that happened in that healing with you in 2020. It grounded in December of last year, which is how I'm able to actually feel safe enough, because my innocence has returned to share. And the other aspect too was last year, when I got married, I actually, all of those fears came up again, even though I'd had this healing and had all these things happen. And I knew that I knew in the heart of my heart, there was nothing, I've never had any thoughts, I've never had anything, but for whatever reason, that I think because of me being married, the foundation on every root was clearing. And so I still had to clear more. It's almost complete. So I did a mushroom ceremony a month after I got married to the day. And one of the things the mushrooms conveyed to me was that moment of the remembered of sexual abuse. I had, because I didn't know the difference between my feelings and that person's feelings, and because of being an empath, you know, and being so blasted open, obviously from being a baby, I literally took that person's poison on, and held it because I didn't know it wasn't mine, and was worried that empath illness was in fact mine. And when the mushroom said, no, you know, it was never yours, but it was also part of the peace that your soul agreed to hold, so that you could have a completely deep, profound compassion for that sickness, you know, what people all over the world are suffering with, and which is an infection, which is a sickness, which, you know, makes you fear yourself. And I think this is, you know, just having the mushrooms show me that was also part of my training to become a healer, you know, and because I have just complete, utter compassion, even though there's no condoning, but you have compassion, like you said, Aeon, you have compassion. And then in having the innocence returned, being, you know, guided to start to share out in the world on social media now, and having a talk with a friend, not meaning for any of this to come up, there was there was this mention that you fear that you, and I'm going to use the word predator because that's actually the word that feels most taboo to use. And that's what you fear. You fear that you will become, you either will become or you are a predator. And that is a terrifying feeling because it always ostracizes you from a life that you want to have, which is to feel free, innocent, love, and to be able to enjoy all people of all ages in their innocence, beauty, and love, you know. And
well, and it tears the self-trust, right? Like if you can't trust yourself, if you can't trust yourself, then you're running around in this horrible suffering, like constant suffering. And of course, it makes you paranoid, but this is the parasite. This is the parasite. This is the parasite. This is, you know, for those of you who are listening, who haven't heard or have heard previous episodes, go back. We'll link them in the notes about what the parasite is and how it locks in. And I just want to say, Valentine, as you're talking, I'm just so aware of the bodhisattva like vow in you, that your soul has come here to clear. You know, many of us, all of us who are healers, who are doing the deep shadow work, we came here to clear that. Yeah. And of course, on the path of clearing it, we fear we've become it, or we have a fear that it will swallow us whole and we'll never be able to return to our innocence. And come back to love.
Can I say one thing actually? Because this is the Gestalt though, Aeon, is that in the innocence returning in December, getting a hit that it would serve to share the story, giving it up, actually reaching out to you, erasing it, hoping you hadn't got the message. I mean, I was very scared. And then actually the biggest realization, because the innocence was able to land after a year and a half, soul retrieval.
Mind you, that's how long it takes for a soul retrieval.
For people, just to know, that's how long it took.
and that's how long it always takes. It takes a whole gestation.
So for it to land, and then actually 2 days ago, I was speaking to my spiritual mother from the Rajyogini time. She said, "Oh, it sounds like you've reclaimed your trust in yourself." And I said, "That's it." So this is a literal this is an entire gestalt and of innocence reclaiming and also releasing this parasite, and just my deepest desire is that for people, because the other thing too is I want to hear both what you're thinking. I know we're probably almost at time, but I really feel that people who don't acknowledge that this whole thing that happens, that the parasite is there, that I think they do become infected. I think that is how it perpetuates, because the fear and the poisons them.
Of course.
Sorry.
Of course. Well, I just want to say, it's like this is all happening really close to your birthday as well. So what a beautiful gift from birth to kind of birth to death to rebirth process. Yeah, Satya, I know you want to share something.
Oh goodness, I want to throw us completely into a new
realm.
Yeah. So I'm not going to right now.
Yeah, I can feel you're spinning over there. But Valentine, first, I feel so blessed that I can be a part of your journey, that I can go through this with you, because it's like, this was my deepest wish for this podcast, is that me sharing my sexual wounding and my healing journey and bringing others like Isa on the show and others who've recovered from sexual trauma, and all the conversations I've had with Satya have been so deeply healing for me. It's been this the first year we didn't share it with anyone. The second year I got kind of brave and I started to share it with, others in the school. And I think you were one of the first students I had that was really listening to the episodes and had such a strong trigger come up. And there's been a number of them now who have been triggered, a lot of men also, which has been really touching for me, that they hear the episodes and it triggers them and something gets unlocked. And that was the intention of doing it. And so just having you here for me is like a birthday celebration, and for us in doing this of like, oh my God, thank God, because it's so terrifying. I was so scared to share what had happened to me. And there's so much I haven't shared, right? I mean, there's just so much. I'm scared to put words to it. I'm scared to even have more memory surface, because I know there's still so much memory I haven't accessed, because I have snippets of it, but I can only see the tip of the iceberg, right? And I know that it goes deep.
We can only hold so much at each stage.
Exactly, before we completely
I can't listen to all your episodes because they still trigger me. I can feel it. There's a very detoxifying, which of course is so yeah, it's working.
Yeah, and we have to know that in our process, that we can't, there's a process in healing where you have to like dismantle and excavate in order to like redo the foundation. But if you dismantle too fast, you collapse. And that's what we're all terrified of. That's what we don't want to do. And where many people go into dark nights of the soul for long periods of time, because we can't recalibrate. We can't put ourselves back together if we dismantle too much too quickly. So it can be really shocking to the system. What I've noticed with you is what I love, and what you remind me of, is to be so kind to yourself in the process and to really take time. Like, I watched how you tracked yourself and really knew like when it's time to share. Is it in alignment with how you're sharing? Is it to your best service to share? Like you have such a beautiful relationship with your inner alignment that inspires me to continue further, like, oh, okay, like she's taking it to another level and she's going deeper and deeper. And I just love watching you. You're really a true devotee of truth, like of love, of the biggest, I don't know, let's say like the greatest achievement I think us as humans can achieve is like knowing the self, like really getting in deep alignment, deep authenticity with ourself. And really like taking from all these different traditions, all these ancient and modern techniques, blending them to what works for you, but really honing. So you're such a gifted healer, a beautiful medicine carrier. Like, I'm honored that you came through my school, that I get to like be a part of your journey.
We were destined to work together. I already knew that. One other thing I wanted to add too is that, one of the sort of humbling points, which I really started to tune into humility as this whole other actually like power pellet. But one of the humbling points of the, people talk about self-healing, and in my mind, there's a determination to believe in your personal wholeness and wellness, but there is literally no part of that journey that was just myself. That's just been something recently, because I think there's such a, and I know both of you, because of who, all the people you've worked with, it's like if you always think that it's just on you to do it yourself, it just becomes more work, it's all you. And part of this gestalt and this, and actually I had to forgive myself to this like self-forgiveness piece, and to allow this, all the gifts of even just this moment with you both, and it to happen. There's just a need. I think there's a real need to realize that we need everybody's gifts. We need to realize that if we only think we're doing it on our own, it's kind of like you're in the workforce again. It's like you're part of the man system. And I'm like, fuck the man, fuck that. Like, this system is a spiritual, ecological, bio-synergistic system that includes us and reveals to us. And even why this talk is happening, because I just went to go hang out at the beach with a friend that I never hang out with. And then it just naturally, organically happened. And then it allows her and her healing gifts, because she's a healer, to start to soften and realize that she's supported. We didn't set anything up. We didn't read a book. Life presented something. I'm aware of thresholds because I'm freaking talking about them all the time now to you. And then it's this extremely, like, the love I feel from you both, hearing your voice, Satya, Aeon, changing your name. It's like I'm interwoven with, actually, I don't think it's too bold to say, I feel very interwoven with you both and what you're doing. And this is how it looks, right? You activate, I can't remember how you call it, the circle of life. In your book, you talk about
the flower of life.
You activate those in your sphere. Each time you activate, it affects me, because I think I'm part of that sphere, but everybody,
absolutely.
So it's very organic, and there was never just me as myself doing it. And yet the determination to believe in wellness brought me to this point. And
I just think we pulsed out and popped open a whole bunch of circles on that grid of our monad, because when we share like this, and when we heal like this in unison and witnessing of each other, like, we're all getting codes and information that we might not even be conscious of. In fact, most of it we're not. And the part that we are is what, is like the seed that lives in us that kind of spurs our next level of work, or our next conversation that we have with someone. And we don't know how far out those ripples happen. But, our podcast is in 57 countries. You know how many people around the world have been sexually abused? Like, probably almost 90% of the population has sexual abuse running in their system. And we're just one small podcast, but you know what? We've got seeds in every country. So, or at least in 57 countries. So I'm happy about that. I'm so happy that you were brave enough, and that we have each other to lean in on, to carry a piece of the load, right? Because sometimes it does feel so heavy and so much work, but it doesn't.
I wouldn't have done this by myself. There's no way. I just wouldn't have.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. It's, wow.
You're helping in my liberation.
Yay, the liberation party. Oh my goodness.
Too. I really am excited for anybody to just be able to reclaim their innocence. That has just been, it feels like I'm launching on a whole new life path to just have that come back.
It's the ultimate goal. That's all I sought after for probably 10 years, was just like, I want my innocence back. I want it back. Yeah. And there was a very strong point when I felt it return, and it was a new life, like a new life opened afterwards. So I'm so happy for you. Happy birthday, Valentine.
Thank you. And I'm 46, which in numerology is a 10, which is a 1.
Right.
So yes,
full completion of cycle.
So I feel complete. Everything that wanted to come forth has come forth.
I just want to say happy Valentine's Day to
Thank
us
you.
and all of our listeners.
Yes, everybody. And yes, so much love.
so much love. Well, they'll be getting this after Valentine's Day, but still, happy Valentine's Day.
Okay,
May the love just spread out like Satya's necklace beaming out. I love you, ladies. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Love you.
Until next time.
Okay. Bye.
To learn more about our life-enhancing courses and transformational retreats, visit knowtheself.com.